And in my experience so far, I have found this method to be relatively easy and does not require a lot of planning or is not very laborious in its nature. Hello and welcome back to Save Ourselves, or if you're new here, then hi. I am Aparna, and at Save Ourselves, we talk about productivity, slow and mindful living, bullet journaling, organization, and much, much more. So, if you're interested in any of these topics, do consider subscribing. And now, without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So today's video is titled My Two-Pronged Approach to Goal Setting for 2023. In the last video, we talked about how you don't need to turn everything into goals, and we looked at how we can categorize all the aspects of our lives into hobbies, pursuits, and goals. So if you need a quick recap of that, you can click on this link here, or it's linked in the description below, and check out that video. And in this video, we are going to actually take a step further and look at the two-pronged system that I'm using for goal setting in 2023. I feel that goal setting is something that a lot of us start with at the beginning of the year, and it's a crucial step to lead an intentional life. And I don't know if I'm adding to the chaos that is the internet, which is filled with all of these goal setting videos at the beginning of the year, or I'm adding a little more clarity to it by introducing my way of doing it. But hopefully it resonates with some of you, and if it does, do let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Personally, I don't really use any traditional forms of goal setting. As I've evolved with my bullet journaling practice over the years, the method that I'm about to tell you is the one that I find most useful for myself, and I've been using it for a couple of years now. So let's begin with the first prong, which is the internal approach. So no matter which aspect of your life you're talking about, whether it's a hobby, a pursuit, or a goal, I feel that every task can begin with an intention. It gives you a much more internal locus of control, which lets you exercise some kind of control over that task, and overall it can feel very empowering. For example, when we're talking about reading, it's not really necessary to set a goal of reading 52 books a year or a book per week when it's in the hobbies category. But you can definitely be more intentional about it if you start with an intention that says, I want to prioritize reading every day because it is a meditative and a therapeutic exercise for me. You can also set a system in place by going one step further that says, I'll read for 20 minutes before bed every single day. And that way, this is not a very regimental or structured way of looking at it, and it still keeps the joy of it intact because ultimately it's a hobby that you're doing for leisure. And not all of these intentions need to be accompanied by systems or routines. Some can simply be set as intentions and left at it. It is simply a more mindful way of living, and it's just looking at all the aspects of your life and deciding what direction you want to go about with each of them. So here are a couple of examples when it comes to setting intentions. Now, I believe in setting a word for the year, and this year I've chosen the word adventure. So an intention to go along with that can sound like, I want to say yes to more opportunities and be more spontaneous, because ultimately that's what adventure means to me, and I want to align my life with my word of the year. Another example with regards to Save Ourselves can be that I want to be more consistent with my blogs and my YouTube channel by publishing weekly content. That was it for the first prong, and now let us move on to the second prong, which I call the external approach. Now, no matter how much we think we are in control of our lives, I believe that it's not true. Life manages to throw a curveball at us every now and then, which lets us realize that we are not in control at all times. And that is exactly why I feel the need for an external approach as well. This makes up for the fact that we are not in total control of our lives, and that a lot of things simply happen to us, and this can be good things as well as bad. So we just need to have some space to take that into account, and that is exactly what this external approach does. For example, you might be looking at getting promoted as your goal, but this goal can be further dissected into the internal approach and the external approach, because even though you may give your best at your work and do your best job at your role, the promotion might not be completely in your hands. It will still depend on the decision of your boss or the state of your company's revenue, or even your performance in comparison to all of your co-workers. So while setting an intention is a good way to go about it, it is not the complete or holistic way to look at it. So here is where wish lists come in. This is simply a list of all of your wishes and dreams that you want to see being brought to life, and with a combination of intentions, they let you envision your dream life. Now let's look at promotion as an example and dissect it into an internal versus an external approach. The internal approach part of it will say that I will work hard at my current role and try to give it my best shot. The external part of it will say that I get the promotion that I have been working so hard for, and along with it come a lot of good benefits. So when you combine intentions with a wish list or the possible outcome, it leads to a complete or a holistic set of goals that then becomes attainable. Now, for the examples we looked at while setting intentions, let's see what their wish list counterparts will look like. So when we were talking about adventure as my word of the year, when we are saying that I want to be more adventurous and say yes and be more spontaneous, the wish list part of it can say that I get the opportunity to travel more, meet adventurous people, or attend events that bring in the meaning of adventure into my life. On these similar lines, when I was talking about Save Ourselves and how I wanted to be more consistent with my blog and YouTube channel by publishing weekly content, the wish list part of it can say that my YouTube channel gets 100,000 plus subscribers and my blog gets thousands of weekly readers. Now, what you may have noticed here is that things like numbers or timelines are often beyond our control, but that doesn't mean that we should not aspire for them. We can aspire for them by simply setting these intentions into place and by pairing them with a suitable outcome that might even be beyond your wildest dreams but has the possibility of coming true. When paired with reasonably set intentions that you can actually do on a daily basis, it can actually be an attainable goal for you. So to summarize, the two-pronged approach to goal setting is simply a combination of intentions and wish lists which together form a goal that you wish to attain. And in my experience so far, I have found this method to be relatively easy and does not require a lot of planning or is not very laborious in its nature. It's fairly easy to begin with, so feel free to test it out for yourself. And while you're at it, feel free to make any tweaks or changes to this method that may suit your lifestyle. It is exactly in that way that I discovered this method for myself and I found it to be very, very useful. So I hope you find some good takeaways from today's video. If you did, do give this video a thumbs up because that really helps with the algorithm, and I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoy the content that you see, do consider subscribing to the Save Ourselves YouTube channel. In next week's video, I'm doing a roundup of all the books I read in 2022 with a little bit of information and how I rated them. So stay tuned for that. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.